Welcome back. In this video, we'll be setting up a virtual Linux operating system on your Windows machine. Throughout your learning, you are going to be using virtualization technology for a lot of things, and as such, you'll need to install the relevant tools to drive this. Ignore the terminologies we'll be throwing around for now. We haven't yet started the training, so do not worry about them if you're hearing most of them for the very first time. I'll be showing you how to download, install, and configure VirtualBox, followed by setting up Ubuntu as a virtual operating system. Let's get started. It's quite important to know that virtualization technology allows you to run multiple operating systems on a single hardware. It's essential for testing, development, and learning about new software or system administration without risking your main operating system. Before we jump into the installation process, we also need to ensure that your system is ready for virtualization. Therefore, you need to check the virtualization status and enable it if it's already disabled. Most modern CPUs support this feature anyway, but it's often disabled by default in the BIOS or UEFI firmware settings of some computers. Enabling virtualization generally involves a few steps that certainly isn't straightforward, but in general, it involves restarting your computer, and while your system is coming up, you will enter the BIOS or UEFI setup, which usually involves pressing a key like F2, F10, the delete or escape button on your keyboard immediately after the system starts. Once you're able to get into the BIOS, look for settings related to virtualization. It might be listed as VT-X, AMD-V, virtualization technology, or something similar, depending on your processor and BIOS. If virtualization is disabled, change the settings to enable it. Save your changes and exit the BIOS setup, and that's it. If you struggle to follow that process as I have just described, I'll recommend that you just head over to YouTube and type in how to enable virtualization in Windows 10 or 11, depending on your specific Windows edition. You can choose any of the short videos that comes up and simply follow the instructions. Now, assuming you have virtualization enabled, let's go ahead and install VirtualBox. VirtualBox is that piece of software that will allow you to have multiple virtual computers on your main computer using the virtualization technology. To download VirtualBox, head over to the VirtualBox website at virtualbox.org and download the latest version for Windows host. Once the software is downloaded successfully, run the installer and follow the prompt. The default settings are typically fine for most users. Once installed, launch VirtualBox to get started. Next up is downloading and setting up Ubuntu inside VirtualBox. To download Ubuntu, visit the Ubuntu download URL at ubuntu.com/download/desktop and download the ISO file for the Ubuntu version you'd like to install. At the time of this recording, the latest version is 22.04.4 LTS. Make sure you're downloading Ubuntu Desktop because there's another one which is the Ubuntu server. But we don't want that for now. I have pre-downloaded Ubuntu, so I'll simply skip the download so you can pause the video here to wait for your download to complete. Once the download is completed, it's time to create a new virtual machine in VirtualBox using the Ubuntu ISO file we've just downloaded. Open up VirtualBox, click New to create a new virtual machine, name it Ubuntu, and VirtualBox will automatically select the type and version based on the name. Click Next to proceed. Assign memory to your virtual machine A minimum of 2 GB is recommended, but more is better if you have available RAM on your host computer. Next, follow the prompts to create a virtual hard disk. The default settings should be sufficient most of the time. During the installation, you'll be prompted to create a user account. Enter your desired username and password. You use these credentials to log in to Ubuntu once everything is ready. Once the installation completes, it's time to log into your Ubuntu server. When prompted, log in with the username and password you created during the installation, and that's it. Congratulations! You've successfully set up a virtual Linux server on your Windows machine using VirtualBox. The environment is perfect for exploring Ubuntu, developing applications, or running software that requires Linux. Throughout your journey in tech, you will most likely spend majority of your time working on Linux. So get ready as you progress in this exciting career, and I'll see you in the next video.